everybody. So this is going to be my official first movie review video, and to celebrate that, brought my friend Sean here because when he heard that I really want to do a spoiler review for Spider-Man Far From Home, I know he's a huge fan of all these Marvel movies, so might as well bring him on board. Okay, so I guess from the start, we can talk about just first impressions. What'd you think about, like, as soon as you left the movie theater?
I was blown away, like right away. So we watched it premiere night, and then I watched it a second time a couple weeks after just to kind of refresh myself. So I watched it twice, and both times I was just really blown away, especially for the fact that this is the movie that came right after Endgame. So it was a really good way to kind of cool things down after all that insanity, you know, like with everything happening and just the tragicness of it all. So I think it was really good. Just watching it both times, like I was really impressed and happy with how they did Spider-Man again, you know? Like, was it Homecoming was the first one?
Yeah.
Homecoming was like amazing too. I watched that twice. And then when I heard they were coming out with Far From Home, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna watch it twice as well. So yeah.
Okay.
I liked it.
So unlike Sean, I only got to watch it once. But prior to watching Far From Home, I did rewatch Homecoming, and it was just a good, like, oh yeah, this movie was like actually really good. My top 10 MCU. And so I had pretty high expectations for this movie going forward, especially after, you know, Endgame. It's just like, how are they going to address, like, that, you know, spoiler alert for Endgame, that 5-year gap if you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
And like, okay, they did, but in a funny way.
Yeah.
And so, like, everyone was talking about, like, you know, like the real, like, stuff about, like, oh, like, you know, it should be tragic or, like, all these problems that could come up. But Spider-Man's like, yeah, let's just make it funny. And I was okay with that.
I think it was fine. I think they handled that, you know, perfect because, yeah, as much as we want to see, like, the real world,
like,
you know,
effects
of it, yeah, I mean, I don't think it was really needed for this particular movie. I mean, Spider-Man is known as to be comedic, and bringing it into the movie universe, you know, it's like you could be tragic but give a little comedy to it, and I think they did it fine. I honestly was pretty pleased with how they did it and how they explained the blip. They call it
the blip.
I like decimation or the snapping. I like those better than the blip.
I guess because they're in high school, that was like their version of calling it. Besides addressing the stuff from Endgame, I just really like how it played out. Visuals, it was great. Storyline, pretty solid, and acting. Let's get into that. So I guess let's start with our main boy Spidey. What'd you think?
I'm gonna say he's probably the best out of all the Peter Parkers that we've seen. I mean, and as a Spider-Man also, he's perfect all-around character compared to our previous Spider-Man and Peter Parkers. I think he's done such a great job portraying our neighborhood Spider-Man, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's been 4 movies already that he's in. So it's been Civil War. Oh, 5 movies. It's been 5. This is his 5th movie that he's in. And he's done so much in just 5 movies, you know? And, like, even after Homecoming, he did great, you know? Like, I honestly think, oh my god, what's his name again? Tom
Holland.
Tom Holland. Tom Holland, like, I honestly think they did a great casting choice with him. I actually saw him acting in one of these the older movies, or an older movie where it's like flooding.
Oh, The Impossible?
The Impossible, yeah. I watched him there, and I didn't realize that was him. And then I looked at it again, I'm like, oh my god, that is him! And he did so good in The Impossible, too. Like, child actors are insane, dude. It's insane. But, you know, I really like him as our Spider-Man.
Really like him, too. Once again, he does a great job of balancing Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And I really like how, I guess, in terms of what's going on in the MCU versus the previous Spider-Mans, that at least now more people know who he is rather than always just keeping it a secret. And I think they played it off pretty well. Tom Holland, always great. And then the supporting cast, that storyline with Ned and Betty.
Yeah, that was just
that was unexpected.
So the thing with that, I actually kind of enjoyed it. Like, I was like half and half because, you know, high school romances. But then, like, I felt like because they put that comedic sense to it at the end, it just made up for all of it. I was like, okay, that's fine. Like that was totally fine, and I thought it was just funny to watch them play that off.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny, and then also I think the teachers also Martin Starr and JB Smoove. I really like that I add JB Smoove just because he's in like plenty of stuff, but he's only there for like a little bit.
Yeah,
but
gave him a bigger role, and
even though they still gave him like a small role, just more like the comedic relief for the teachers, he always plays it well.
Yeah,
like I always appreciate his comedy. I appreciate his additions. Happy in May. What do you think about that?
That was it was kind of funny too. I think it was cute with the parallel to Ned and Betty. I think it was kind of like that. At the end when Peter's all like, so what's going on here? And Happy's all like, oh yeah, we're together. And Ami's like, no, we're not.
Just summer fling.
Just summer fling. I'm like,
oh no.
He got curved. He got curved so bad. But, you know, I thought it was pretty funny. I know they were kind of like hinting something in like Homecoming with Tony and Aunt May, but I think that would have been a better pair if it was Happy and Aunt May from the beginning.
Plus,
because
Tony already got Pepper.
Yeah,
I think that's good enough.
Definitely, but I think it's because Happy is more like that uncle kind of figure to Spider-Man. He's Uncle Happy, so I think he would have been really good, you know, together. And if they continued that would be really good to see.
Since the beginning with Jon Favreau as Happy, like I think we can see like a small evolution of his character as well, because he's just like, well, he's like a caretaker of Tony, but then he cares for Spider-Man, but in a way where like in Homecoming he's like, please don't bother me, and it's like, well, now it's like my job and I'm on your side, and I kind of want to date your aunt, and that's it. Okay, and so
I'm in love with Spider-Man's aunt.
The big boy, the big villain. I mean, once again, this is a spoiler review. What'd you think about Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio?
He did so good, you know. Like I've really liked Jake Gyllenhaal as an actor, even before this. I know he's done some bad movies, but he actually did great acting in them as well. But in this movie in particular, he did really, really well as a villain. Like when, okay, we already knew he was going to be the villain, right? Like,
well, at least for people who know who Mysterio is, like we
even in the trailer though, it kind of pushed it, you know.
Well, I think they're just trying to like make it a twist because everyone's like, you know, the elementals, but I'm just like, I don't think I've ever really heard. I mean, I don't read the comic books, so
elementals is a big thing in the comics, but it's more of a Doctor Strange thing.
Oh, okay.
So the fact that they brought it with Mysterio kind of gave him that more magic-esque side.
That makes sense because in the trailer, everyone's just like,
yeah, they were comparing him
like
to
Doctor
like,
Strange.
Yeah,
stuff.
Doctor Strange, exactly. So I think the way he portrayed Mysterio, and you know, went from good guy to full on, you know, villain and wanting to kill Peter Parker like towards the end. Like I think he did it really well because you can tell, you know, like from the beginning he doesn't want to hurt Peter Parker. He doesn't want to do that. It wasn't until they found the what was it? Projector. They've had a projector.
Like their drone stuff.
Yeah. Once Peter and MJ found the projector.
Yeah.
And then Mysterio found out. Oh, they have it. Oh, now I have to kill them because they know. And I really like how they went from. You know, they worked his character into that rather than just doing it right away. I want to kill him just to kill him. I mean, he's more of a Tony Stark villain too because of that whole backstory.
I think for me, I do. That's like my only minor gripe with, I guess, the Spider-Man villains is that they're still connected to Tony Stark.
Yeah.
I mean, not a huge deal just because I agree with you. Jake Gyllenhaal is a phenomenal actor. I think the last big movie I saw him in, or at least big to me, was Nightcrawler. I think like back in 2014 because they're talking about nominating him for an Oscar, but they didn't. I think a lot of people say he got robbed, but in that movie, like he was like an anti-hero. He played really, really creepy. So I was just like, is he going to bring that into this movie as Mysterio? Because I knew he was going to be the villain. But no, he actually played it straightforward. And I thought, like, you know, the scene where it's revealed where he's the villain.
In the bar?
Yeah. But first of all, like the whole scene where just like things were like fading away. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, is this like another?
That was such a twist. I did not think that was gonna happen.
I didn't think it was gonna happen there. And I guess when he was doing like the explanation of like, you did this, we're all doing this together. Like, I feel like if it was another actor, it could have played like really cheesy and over the top, but he still managed to like not make it so cheesy. It was still over the top, but it wasn't cheesy. So I'm just like, all right, Jake Gyllenhaal.
I agree with that. It could have been played totally different with like if it was someone else. I don't think it would have came out the same way that it came out in the movie with Jake Gyllenhaal. Like he did, like I said, he portrayed it really well. And the character Mysterio, like if you read the comics and even played, I think it was Spider-Man 2, they did Mysterio in there, and they went straight from comics to movie without really changing anything. Like, we're probably gonna go talk about it in a bit, but that scene at the construction site.
Oh yeah.
Actually,
let's just get right into it. Right
trivia. Okay,
yeah.
I love that scene. I loved it so much. Oh man, like once he started making all those illusions, and just like everything that happened from him being gigantic, and all those statues and the mirrors and all that, like that was insane, and I loved it. Like I don't think I've seen anything as visually pleasing since maybe Doctor Strange, or like Ant-Man and the Wasp, because they had the quantum realm there. But Doctor Strange's what do you call that? The multiverse part of it, like when he goes into the astral form and when he does that. And that whole scene plays out. It kind of was reminiscent to that, but played out to be more, I guess, human, and it felt really more personal, I guess. Like it was crazy. I really, really love that scene. And when I watched it again, I was like excited. I was so excited because I was at the edge of my seat waiting for it to happen again. I'm like, oh yeah, this is it.
I loved it. Like everything was crazy. Even bringing back like a zombie Iron Man. I'm like,
yeah, that was heartbreaking. Like I can't believe they did that to us. I really can't. But I was kind of happy with it because it's kind of a throwback to Marvel Comics, Marvel Zombies. I don't know if you ever read. I don't know if you ever read the.
I haven't read
series.
it, but I know about it.
But it looked so much like it, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that's like. You guys are really messing with us. Like, wow.
Yeah, I think the scene. I mean, you got to rewatch it, but I guess when I watched it the first time, it felt like a whole like 5-minute sequence.
It did.
Yeah.
It felt a lot longer the very first time, and then when I watched it the second time, it kind of felt shorter. But that was kind of because I was expecting it to be longer. But that whole sequence isn't like, okay, now we're playing with it's like the reality stuff is like, so like what's real, what's fake. And I felt like even when they showed Nick Fury, oh my gosh,
and then I'm just like, oh wait, please, like, is this real or is this fake? And then like it's revealed still be fake. And
yeah, I honestly thought it was real. Like it seemed legit when all the other agents pulled up and everything. I was like, okay, so
it's done.
This is it. Done. But then the twist again, I'm just like, ah.
What I appreciate about like I guess everyone kind of being linked to Iron Man, is that these guys are really intelligent.
Oh yeah.
So like they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. Yeah.
Or I guess in the other Spider-Man movies, they just seem to be like villains that happen in a freak accident. But this one's kind of like human. He's just dealing with special effects.
Right.
And now we got to play around with that differently in a way we haven't seen Spider-Man villains before. So
yeah.
Kudos to that. So how'd you feel? I guess. Overall storyline or direction?
I think the way that they're going with Spider-Man, especially towards the end, when they revealed, Jameson, showing like the fact they brought him back. I'm so glad they did. So glad. And I love how they're doing that whole...
Yeah, everyone in my theater, or at least the people who remain, and like people keep leaving during the credit. I'm like, you guys should know by now. Like 20...
I think it was because of Endgame. Endgame really changed the way people...
Like 23 movies in, you still just guys...
Yeah, you should. You should.
That's just a given now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my theater, or at least... I think I screamed really loud.
I know, I did.
So I wasn't sure about the people around me.
I know I did, for sure.
I'm like, they did it.
Yeah.
They brought him back.
I felt kind of bad because I felt like I was the only one that did it. Like, your brother and Camille were there. and I think your brother reacted, but that's it.
Oh.
Like I don't think anyone else in the theater did. But I was like, oh my god, it's J. Jonah Jameson! Like what? I love that they did that twist. It's something that we haven't seen in the movies before, and to see it happening in the MCU, I think there's going to be a huge toll. They did something like this in the comics with the Civil War, Marvel Civil War.
Oh,
they
right.
actually, they had Spider-Man show off that he was, or reveal that he was Peter Parker, and then he ended up getting injured.
I really liked just the journey that Peter goes on, because I felt this was, I guess, if it was to compare it to like any of the other Spider-Man movies in the past, I guess Spider-Man 2, which in my opinion is still, I think that's still in my top 5 of Spider-Man movies.
I think it was really good too because of Doc Ock, the way that they played off of him.
Yeah, and so like you know how Peter's just like, it's funny in Homecoming he's just like, I want to, like, hey Happy, you know, when's my next adventure? And now I guess it's summer. And he's like, no, please.
Yeah, he's
like, I just want to go to Europe, hang out with my friends. So he's still being that teenager. And so, just like Spider-Man 2, where he's just like, he wants to find that balance. Because, like, you can understand, he doesn't want to be a hero all the time. He just, because he's still, you know, a kid.
Right.
And so I like that. And, I guess we kind of forgot to talk about MJ.
Oh, right.
In the first movie, she's supposed to be played like this, like the cool girl doesn't care about anything. And what I really appreciate is that, okay, obviously we're going to make her the love interest. So I guess from the start, they immediately, like, opened her up more to, I guess, be a little more vulnerable.
Right.
Like, really how vulnerable she is on the inside. She's just trying to, you know, protect herself with that tough girl image kind of thing.
Yeah. I think they did, or Zendaya, the actress, I think she does MJ really well because... You know, in the first movie, we obviously knew Liz Allen was supposed to be the love interest, and MJ was just there. But then with this movie, we kind of go back to it where MJ is like, oh yeah, you know, New York, or not New York, Washington D.C. And like she was already kind of like thinking that Peter Parker was Spider-Man towards that around that time, and I think in this movie they really gave her a lot more depth and really gave her character more growth with how she played off of the other characters, and I think she's probably one of my favorite MJ of the two.
Still not Mary Jane, but it is an MJ.
Yeah, it is an MJ. It's not Mary Jane. It's Michelle, but it's MJ.
In the last couple of Spider-Man movies, I do appreciate that, you know, I guess they purposely wrote this where, like, you know, the characters aren't that dumb. Like, they could put, like, you know, when Vulture kind of figured out, like, you know, just, you know, his daughter dropping hints about what happened with Peter. It's like, I can just put 2 and 2 together, and that, you know, that quick car ride, and it's like, okay, you're Spider-Man. And, you know, the same thing with MJ, just like, I'm just putting all these pieces together, like, I'm observing, and then it's obvious you're Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess we're just in that kind of mindset now when making these movies. Like, the characters are smarter, they're not going to be like, let me just remove the...
Super oblivious.
Like, remove the Clark Kent glasses, like, you've been Superman under there the whole time. And then...
You're Superman! You're Clark Kent.
Since you already dropped that post-credit, I guess we can talk about the other one, like the other huge...
Yeah, okay. So...
with the scrolls.
I told your brother this, like, right away. I'm like, dude, that's Sword. It has to be Sword. Just because it's Nick Fury in space. Like, yeah, he's with Skrulls, but that's all we see. You know, there's possibility of, like, the Ravagers there or something, you know, or other alien races. And I feel like they're, instead of doing how they had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. For the first Avengers movie and part of Avengers 2, Age of Ultron, I think they're going to try to play out the Sword from the comics. And yeah, that one is just basically the shield of space. So I think they're going to go a lot deeper into the whole space aspect of the MCU.
The reveal was great just because, like, I'm not sure if anyone saw it coming, or
I don't
what I think what I've been noticing lately is that, you know, I think people were predicting about the Skrull switch thing in Endgame.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, they're not gonna just introduce him in Captain Marvel and then like
Just like,
immediately
save
put them
him.
into Endgame. I'm like,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
too soon. But I guess since we they didn't put him in Endgame, so maybe they're not gonna use him. And then boom,
Yeah.
Far From Home.
I
so
think-
like completely like.
It was a good way to do it because I forgot about the Skrulls and I forgot that Nick Fury had a relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
And when that popped up in Far From Home, I was not expecting it at all. You know, like that was really something like just put in there and no one expected it. Like that's something like no one could really expect. I mean, I've seen reviews where people are like, "Oh, they were hinting at it since the beginning." When Nick Fury was like, he's from Earth, but not your Earth. I didn't even catch that. I did not catch that.
I guess I might need to see that again.
Yeah, in the trailer they say he's from Earth, not our Earth, but then in the movie he says he's from Earth, not your Earth. Yeah. I saw it the second time. Like after I saw a couple of people's reviews, when I went back to watch it again, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's really there.
I guess they didn't show it in the movie, but I just remember distinctly in the trailer they showed Peter Parker's passport,
Yeah.
and then they purposely removed the years, and everyone thought like, oh, see, this is gonna be before like Infinity War, right?
yeah.
And, like lead up.
People were saying
But
that.
then Marvel's like, oh no, we did that for a reason. We weren't gonna tell you that there was gonna be a 5-year time jump.
Yeah.
And
They were doing that specifically for Endgame.
Mhm.
And I think they did that pretty well because a lot of people were complaining about, oh, we already know Spider-Man's coming back because he has a trailer.
Mhm.
Thanks, Marvel, for doing that. But, you know, that first trailer, that's
Actually,
when they
I
did
wasn't
the
sure if that
passport
was Marvel, so I think that might have been Sony because
thing. Oh, it might have been...
Spider-Man's still under them.
Yeah.
I guess like I couldn't really accept like if Nick Fury was a Skrull the whole time, because for me I think maybe Nick Fury was there in the beginning and then I want to say later in the movie it switched to a Skrull. But if he's been relaxing in space the whole time, then I guess that's less probable.
Yeah. I think the last time we might have seen Nick Fury on Earth was Tony's funeral.
Mhm.
And then after that, he went to Earth and had Talos come down and cover for him.
After Happy saves Spider-Man, like after he got hit by a train,
Yeah.
and it's that whole like returning to Iron Man sequence. I know there are some people who are just like, oh, he's just another Iron Man, but I think in a way this played out fine.
Yeah.
Just because like Happy, he's like, oh, I remember Tony.
Yeah,
now I can
it's
see him."
reminiscent. I think it was actually really good that they did that because Peter Parker looked up to Tony Stark. You know, like he saw him as a mentor, father figure, like, you know. And then when they did that whole scene, and you know, Happy's all like, "Oh, let me play some music." When he sees him do that hologram on his arm, and he plays some music, and then he's all like, "Oh, I love Led Zeppelin. I love Led Zeppelin." I'm just like, "What the?" I'm like, "Are you serious?" Millennials. No, I
We're millennials.
we are. I just think that they did that totally fine because it shows a lot of like the relationship between Peter and Tony, and then the relationship of Happy and Tony. You know, like it just it's a good callback to us, the fans that have been watching since Iron Man 1. You know, listening to AC/DC and seeing that hologram again, like that's something that tugs at the heartstrings, you know. And I think they did it great. Like it was a good callback. It was a good way to really give depth to both their characters. I mean, especially Happy, since we don't see him too often. So, you know, it was good. I liked it. And I don't know why people were giving hate to that. Like, I don't think he's going to be the new Iron Man.
It's fine because they just keep on saying who's gonna be the new Iron Man, and I guess they don't want War Machine, but
I know, it doesn't make any sense. Like, there's already another Iron Man, just
Iron
not
guy.
Iron Man. Yeah, there's an Iron Person.
I guess what I appreciate about that scene is we know that, you know, in the other Spider-Man movies, Peter creates his own costume. So even though it was a definite upgrade with Tony Stark's technology, we can still see that he was designing it. And
Yeah.
I like both suits very much. I just like how they called him the Night Monkey in Europe, and I thought it was pretty
Yeah. I don't think they did anything too special with that. I think all they were trying to do was just keep him cognito, just full black suit with the white eyes. I think they were just trying to hide him, and I think even his web slingers were black, so I think that was it. So nothing super crazy with that suit, but I really liked how they did his newest suit. You know, like it looks great. A lot of people were saying that it's reminiscent to the British Spider-Man, his suit.
I don't know what it looks like.
I know, like I'm not really too sure, but I just like the design of it and the overall look. Like I think it works.
So I guess let's wrap up. Do you have a grade for this movie? Like, do you have a letter grade or do you have a number grade out of 10?
Oh man, I should have thought about this before.
I should have prepped you.
I'm all right. What about you first?
Okay, so like I said, this movie was great. I thought it was pretty on par with Spider-Man: Homecoming, and this one just flowed a lot better.
Yeah.
And since when I actually checked the score I gave it, Homecoming years ago, I gave it a 9.5 out of 10, and because of that, I still give this movie a 9.5 out of 10. Just because, like I said, my only minor gripe is that the villains are still connected to Tony Stark. And if they can just kind of get rid of that, that'd be great. But otherwise, spectacular film, highly recommended.
Yeah. I'll say about the same thing, just because they did all the characters really well. You know, they gave them all a story, an arc throughout the movie. Even, some of them that had an actual backstory, which is always good. I mean, they gave Mysterio the backstory that, we kind of figured something like that was going to happen, but not that specifically. So they went in depth with his backstory, and it just made us feel more for the villain a little bit, a little more. Yeah. So we kind of felt more for him, and they fleshed out his character, and it makes me want to see him more. Like, I feel like Mysterio's not actually dead, and I think he'll come back later on.
Ooh. I think he's dead, but
I think he
could be alive. He could be alive.
Specifically because of what we're going back to. So we're not even rating. No. There was that part on the Tower Bridge where Tony puts on the glasses and asks Edith, "Is this real?" And she says, "There are no more illusions." So it doesn't actually mean like, oh yeah, he's dead. It just means this is happening. It's not an illusion.
Good point.
Because he should have asked, is there a heartbeat? Is he alive? But no, he asked, is there any illusions? Right. So for all we know, he could still be alive. He could be out there, and we just have no idea because they never really confirmed he's dead. Or maybe it's because it's a movie and they don't want to say that he's dead. But I mean, they say Tony Stark's dead. But who knows? I think they'll bring him back, and because of the villain himself, I'm honestly gonna say about 9.5, 10, just because how strong of a villain was, and that scene at the construction site is just so good. Just for that scene alone.
I think if you put it top 10 Marvel scenes, or at least MCU scenes, that's definitely in the top 10.
Top 10 definitely. And I don't know for your Marvel movie list, but for mine I would say top 10 as well. Because there's a lot of movies. There's 24 movies now? Is it 23?
23.
23 movies now. And it's so hard to really put an order to it, but because I like the Spider-Man character, this specific Spider-Man character so much, I'm definitely going to say at least top 10, just because of how his character has developed and how they developed the villain as well. It's something that I would rewatch again and again, just because of that scene. But yeah, I mean, top 10 for me. I don't know if you want to take your time to figure that out.
I think it is my top 10. I think it's actually number 6, just because I still have Winter Soldier, Guardians, Infinity War, Endgame, and I think Civil War. Man, that's hard. Right now, I feel it's on par with Civil War. I gave that a high rating.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that's where it stands for me. All right, guys. So that was our spoiler review, and that's actually my first personal review of any movie.
I don't think I've done one before.
Okay, so it's Sean's first time too.
Yeah, I think this might be my first movie review.
Do you want to plug anything like Instagram, YouTube?
I'm trying to do YouTube again.
Okay.
I'm trying to make vlogs. I know Elaine's been doing them, and it kind of inspired me to do it. So, yeah, I mean, if I have the channel up, we'll put the link in the in the.
Okay.
Is this on YouTube or is this
Yeah.
Facebook?
I'll put it on YouTube.
Okay, yeah. I mean, we'll put the link. And I guess that's it, really.
All right. Thank you guys for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.